My terminology and the way that we talk about defining the PIC is similar. Sort of some of the words that I use come from my training in critical resistance, which is a national grassroots organization that fights to do two things, to build something and to get rid of something at the same time. So it fights to get rid of the prison industrial complex and to build sustainable communities that define for themselves what safety is and how safety looks. And so the PIC within that context is, and there is actually an exercise in the book, at the end of the book, to help folks with working on their own definitions and to give some jumping off points to consider for themselves what PIC means. It is a term coined by Angela Davis, and I forget the year. I say something that people make when focusing on understanding this nebulous and ridiculous term is looking at industrial as if we're just equating or understanding prison industrial complex in sort of veil of labor and of forced labor and making an analogy towards the PIC and slavery. And we can actually get into that discussion if folks want to. I think it's bigger than that. It's more than that. And yes, labor is a part of it, but the PIC, is, from my eyes and in the eyes of the book, is actually a set of interests, not just labor, that benefit using a variety of techniques. So using methodologies of homophobia and transphobia and using racism, and a variety of institutions. So that's our school system, that is the court system, that is service, a variety of service provision that happens for folks. So using those technologies and using those institutions and using those sort of systems of being to further its own benefit. And so the people who then benefit are a variety of kinds of people, right? So it's not just government officials, it's not just bankers, it's not just the police, but it's a variety of folks who essentially, at the end of the day, benefit from keeping themselves on top and keeping a larger number of people on the bottom. And that is, it's a really wide net. It does cast a really wide net without understanding, but I think it actually helps to make sure that connections are being made between what it means to criminalize panhandling, making connections to what it means to the three strikes law, what it means for me to not be able to use the women's bathroom ever if I don't want to get called out and have people want to see my ID, and what it means for people who have a family unit of some kind and want to keep that family unit together and then can't do that in a shelter system. So just thinking about that, all those things are connected. They're all part of the PIC. When we ask our neighbors to keep an eye on our neighbors and watch out for suspicious activity and report that to somebody, that's a part of the PIC. So all these things are related, and they're all heavily related to gender, and how gender is presented, and how people experience their genders and are forced to experience their genders. That's a part of that too. And so that's sort of the nebulous, but I think important way of thinking about the PIC is not the strict Webster's dictionary definition, but a definition that's sort of all-encompassing and encompassing the very specific things that we experience.